Hello everybody, GL1 here. Welcome to the premier online toy museum. And as you can see, I'm sharing with you my collection of Stegosauria. And there's quite an array, and it keeps growing as they keep putting out more Jurassic World movies and TV shows. You know, the collection just keeps growing. And the latest one is this fella over here. And I will be getting to him last, but this one is very fascinating, actually. So if you haven't seen my other Stegosaurus show, we'll begin this time with Stegosaurus all the way in the back. You know, everybody's familiar with Stegosaurus with those plates on its back and the 4 spikes on its tail. It's a really large Jurassic era herbivore. Known for its small brain to body ratio. The brain is about the size of a walnut. You know, that's always been a famous thing. But, you know, look at how active insects are, and they have very small brains and, you know, are capable of doing quite a few things. So, you know, size isn't everything. It's sometimes the way that things are put together and what their function is. So the Stegosaurus was 25 feet long and 10,000 pounds. It was found in the western United States and Portugal. So pretty unusual placing there. Of course, back then there was Pangea. All the continents were together. And then moving over to the left, all right, this one here, really cool. And you can articulate it well. So, you know, I had him in a position that it was drinking water. And this is Huayangosaurus, Jurassic period, 164 million years ago. So about 10 to 20 million years older than Stegosaurus. And it was found in China. And a lot of these actually are found in China. So the way this toy activates is you can move the tail and the head moves back and forth, or move the head and then the tail for striking. You know, and has these big spines to protect it. And you have, you know, the lateral articulation in the shoulders. And there you go. You got your feet there. So back and forth on that. So he's drinking. This is the really early Stegosaurus. And you push down on one of these, and the head he can drink. And you push down on this other plate back here, and the tail swings. And this is when they had the codes on the feet all the time back then. And actually this one is not. This is newer. So that one you pull up one of the plates. And what you're going to see on these, or you see it now, you know, there's really quite an array of spikes and plates. And that's why they are closely related to Ankylosaurs, because Ankylosaurs also had a lot of spikes. All right, so then we're moving over to this big one here. Kentrosaurus. Kentrosaurus was 15 feet long, 2,000 to 6,600 pounds. So quite a big variation. Gigantospinosaurus was only 14 feet and about 1,500 pounds. So, you know, the size of a large horse, but much smaller than Stegosaurus. And Kentrosaurus could be a lot bigger too, at 6,600 pounds. And this was found in Tanzania, Africa. And with the toy, you have your lateral articulation of the arms, a little bit of hip lateral articulation. And this one has, oh no, well, it has a tail that falls off. So you have a lever here, and you can move the head back and forth, or actually the whole torso. So you can use those spikes to great effect. And then the tail, if it doesn't fall off, you can, you know, angle it. It's a ball joint, so you can move it in all different angles. And yeah, for some reason, it's not broken inside, actually. The catch doesn't look like it's broken. It just looks like it just pops out kind of easily, which actually makes it easier for storage. All right, so, all right, that is Kentrosaurus. All right, so all of these, except one, are Jurassic. All right, and I'll tell you which that one is when we get to it. All right, and then we're moving over to Huayangosaurus, and as you can maybe tell from the name, it was also found in China, and this was the first stegosaurid found in China, and it goes back 160 million years. So remember, Stegosaurus is 155 to 145. So this is older. And 13 feet long, 2,000 pounds. And one of the things that's notable for is it has these little spikes on its shoulders, just a little deterrent there, right? And then if you'll note, look at how the spikes, they're sideways. It doesn't really have a lot of vertical spikes. So it would just, kind of stab you in the leg, I suppose. And this one, the actuation of the toy is just simply that if you move the head that way, you move the tail, or if you move the tail, and I think that's more, using its elbow spikes, to shoo off anybody bothering him. All right, and now after Huayangosaurus, we're going to Craterosaurus, and this one was found in Britain, and 145 million years ago, so contemporary with some of the latest stegosaurs. So this one actually is early Cretaceous. May have, gone in a million years or a few 100,000 years into the Cretaceous, which began at 145. 13 feet long, 1,200 pounds. So a number of these are 13 feet long. And this is just a simple toy, doesn't have, it's a lot of just manual action, doesn't do anything in particular. You just rotate it like that. But, you can see it really looks like Stegosaurus, except instead of having plates here, it just has the spikes and some really long spikes on the end. And so more spikes instead of plates, right? So maybe that was a little bit more successful where he was living. But although it wasn't around that long, so maybe not. I mean, a million years, 100,000 years, it's all pretty a long time, right? All right, so then we're going to go to one of my favorite ones, Miragaia, and it's actually has the longest neck of any of the stegosaurids. This one is Jurassic, 150 million years ago, 21 feet long, but 4,400 pounds. So the toy doesn't represent the size in comparison because it's, like 3 to 4 times as heavy as those there, which are like 1,200 to 2,000 pounds, so double or triple the weight. So you can just assume maybe this is a juvenile. But what's cool about this toy, it has a lot of articulation. You have the head that moves all around on a ball joint and a mouth that opens and closes, and it's the only one with the mouth that opens and closes. And look, you have a little bit of that, sort of the inside of the mouth detail and some of those flat teeth and a beak. And then you can rotate the tail and spike with it. And then you don't have lateral articulation of any of the limbs, but they move. But I just think it's a really neat looking dinosaur. It's all spiky, and just some very dangerous spikes there. But it's got that long neck, which is a little bit vulnerable, but maybe where it was living, the long neck was more valuable. It was found in Portugal. So 150 million years ago. So, it was around the same time as Stegosaurus, and, Stegosaurus was also found in Portugal. So you might find Miragaia and Stegosaurus relatively near each other, right? Because Portugal's not that big. All right, now we're going to go over to Hesperosaurus, and Hesperosaurus is this big fella over here. And what's cool about him is, again, you can articulate this one like it's drinking. This one the toy has the wheel, and he can shoo his tail back and forth and make very angry sounds for an herbivore. But it's a big toy, right? And you don't have any lateral articulation in the legs, but you do in the arms. And the neck is just attached, doesn't move for you, and the mouth doesn't close. But, they give you the wheel and really good actuation for the spikes. And a lot like Stegosaurus, right? Except that these really different shaped, plates on its back. They look like leaves, right? Kind of to, I think, a ginkgo tree, actually. So Hesperosaurus was 156 million years ago, 21 feet long and 7,000 pounds. So big dinosaur. I remember Stegosaurus was 10,000. So, still really big. And Hesperosaurus is actually the oldest American stegosaur found to date. So 156. So it goes back a million years earlier than Stegosaurus. All right, now we're going to we're going back to China. Huayangosaurus, perhaps is how I say it. And that's this fella here, 21 feet long and also, heavy, 6,000 pounds. So the toy, they made it the size of, one of the 1,200 pound ones, right? Or 2,000 pound ones, but really it could be much bigger. And this is actually really old, 163 to 157 million years ago. So what's this tell us is that China had stegosaurs, as far as we've found so far, before America, even though, everybody grew up knowing about Stegosaurus in America. The Chinese ones were found later. Now this has the actuation where you push up on here and then the tail kind of spins over. Sometimes this breaks. So, be careful how you play with that. And this has, there you pull up one of the plates there, which is really kind of like a spike. It's almost like just different kinds of spikes all the way through, right? It looks sort of like broken pieces of wood. And then you have your 4 spikes on the tail. 4 spikes on the tail seems to be a pretty successful design, not too little, not too much, light enough to swing and hit really hard with. All right, and then our last stegosaurid is Huayangosaurus. Okay, so hopefully I said that right. That's in China, and that's, this one has just come out. It's 13 feet long, 1,100 pounds, so about the same size as Huayangosaurus, or Huayangosaurus, or Craterosaurus, actually. So this one is 20 million years older than Stegosaurus, and it is the earliest of all the stegosaurs found so far. It goes back to the early Jurassic, 170 million years ago, 170 to 163. So pretty successful dinosaur, and why not? I mean, look at the array of spikes, shoulder spikes, some big spikes over the hips so you can't get in there, and you have very pointy plates, and then you have your 4 spikes there on the end. The way the toy works is like that, so you can, get him to look like he's drinking some water. And you don't have this is a newer dinosaur, but they did make it a pull-up plate, so that's pretty cool. So that's really, right now, this is what they've come up with, but really quite an array of stegosaurs that, we didn't know. All we knew was Stegosaurus growing up, nobody really made toys of all these different ones. So it really is exciting. And then I have something to show you here. This is a corpulite, or coprolite, I'm sorry. This is a fossilized poop. Now, it's really not as old as a dinosaur, but it looks kind of like a stegosaurid, right? I mean, if you imagine this is the tail and these are kind of the spikes. This is from Madagascar, and it's 50 million years old. So I don't know what it goes to. They might not know what it goes to, but they can tell. And I just thought it'd be interesting to show you that. Of course, it's a rock now, so it's not really poop. As it fossilizes, the material, the organic material, washes out, and then minerals wash in and fill the space slowly as the organic material washes out and fills in that space and makes an exact duplicate, like it's filling in a mold. So it's actually minerals. So there you go. All right, so when they come out with another stegosaurid, because there are more, then we will see how those all place as well. But at least now I have a much better display to show you. They can all be out in this rustic, kind of dried out environment with just a few ponds here and there, because it's just very hot. They happen to wander into a place that's just having its dry season. All right, well, I will talk to you later. Take care.